Внимание! Министерство репрессий предупреждает. Данный клип содержит сцены насилия, головоногих над головоногими и трансгенных мутаций.
This is John with Gameprom Rollout for June 2011. On the docket this month, we have several releases to be blowing our trumpets about. Gameprom's new territorial puzzler Battle Slugs, Pinball HD for Tegra Android devices, or Pinball HD for the Mac, plus news about a couple releases to be hatched later this summer. This July, we herald the unveiling of Gameprom's slimy new Battle Slugs, a game of strategy in which angelic and demonic slugs battle for territory on hexagons. Choose a side and take turns trying to occupy the most cells before the entire playing field has been occupied. Each move, you can either leap to a distant cell or clone yourself to an adjacent one. After you move, any enemy next to you where you landed is magically converted to your own army, just like in real life. These simple rules result in an interplay of table-turning strategy as you do battle on a variety of playing fields set against changing, colorful backdrops. Look for Battle Slugs on the App Store this July.
Sit down, Bill. There seems to be something wrong. What is it? You were always a fine student. I'll study harder. Honest. Honest. If you were being honest with me and honest with yourself, I'm afraid you'd tell me an entirely different story. Isn't it true that you have, perhaps unwillingly, acquired a certain harmful habit? Well?
Now, lo and behold, the mighty Pinball HD for Tegra. Gameprom is bringing Pinball HD to Android now, with a souped-up version of our flagship Pinball HD for devices featuring NVIDIA's Tegra technology. The same 3 great tables with a bit of spice added in for the Tegra platform. For those of you still not familiar with Pinball HD, this app was a raging hit for iOS devices with 3 handsome tables: Wild West Pinball, The Deep, and Jungle Style. Wild West Pinball is themed on the anarchic Old West, featuring some of the criminal activities that the lawless environment made possible back in those good old days. Rob a bank, pilfer a gold mine, ransack the Indian village, just don't tilt. In The Deep, you assume captainship of a super-duper submarine, the most perfect submarine in the world, to be exact. That would distinguish it from being one of the more, but not the most perfect. Summon up your mad skills to navigate situations with sunken treasure, a whirlpool, and a giant shark, and other deep-sea sorts of things. Finally, you have Jungle Style, the most complex of all, with its crashed aircraft, tiki poles, rotating labyrinth, the golden ball, Big Kong, no relation, and the suspiciously cheerful little shaman with his highly incriminating houseplant. Among this game's jungly features, you have a chance to release the golden ball, which is larger and heavier than the usual pinball. These tables all offer a standard table view, plus a flyover view which follows the ball. You can also slap on a pair of 3D glasses in any of 3 color sets. You can do this with or without playing the game. Speaking of Pinball HD, the June update to Pinball HD for the Mac promises several new features. Improved textures and geometry, additional settings to improve performance on systems such as Mac Mini and MacBook, local and global high scores, and Game Center achievements for each table. War is hell, but War Pinball is swell. And now that you've shown that you're a Mac on War Pinball, it's time for us to show you War Pinball on your Mac. The blood, the shrapnel, the olive drab, the explosions, the slugs, the bamboo habit trails. Each table can be played in 3 camera views: full table, top-down, or perspective view, and a flying camera view which follows the ball. Rack up high scores locally and compete with top players in the World High Scores list. Plus, each table has its own set of Game Center achievements. Of course, beautiful as it is on the big Mac screen, there are still some environments where it's not quite as suitable. For example, driving a car or flying a plane.
Hey, you know something?
No, what?
I had a wet dream last night.
In other news, this summer we'll be seeing a lot of additional developments. This is in addition to the flooding and hurricanes that will peak later in the year, not to mention more economically driven rioting in several countries. Crimson World 2, the sequel to the grisly interplanetary shooter, will be arriving with more cosmic wastelands to soak in alien fluids and body parts.
You'd try it, wouldn't you?
That would be the one for me. Why, that's the most exciting news.
And a couple new pinball tables coming at you later this year. Some of it is still top secret, but I'll tell you what I can. Pinball table number 1 honors the epitome of the Renaissance, Leonardo da Vinci. Wasn't he great in Titanic? The great Leonardo now joins the ranks of Bullwinkle, Freddy Krueger, and Richie Rich to be immortalized in lights on a pinball table all his own. For silver balls to roll around on and bump against images of his magnificent contributions to humanity. Our second big table is a bit hush-hush at the moment and relates to a very well-known rock group. I won't rob you of the opportunity to set up your own betting pools, but I will tell you that this musical act has been around for at least a decade. Okay, at least 2 decades. Maybe more. That's all I have to say for today before they put me back into my box. So tune in again next time, whenever the hell that is. And remember everyone to keep those thumbs warm.